Have you ever found yourself wondering why certain people appear in your life at seemingly perfect moments? Sometimes like a gentle breeze that comforts your soul, other times like a sudden storm that shakes your very foundation. Why do some faces feel inexplicably familiar, as if your soul has danced with theirs before? And why do others stir emotions so intense and profound that they leave you changed forever? In the busyness of life, it's easy to dismiss these encounters as mere coincidences, random people crossing your path without meaning or purpose. But what if I told you that this view misses the deeper truth? Buddhist wisdom offers us a profoundly different perspective. Nothing in our lives is accidental. Every person who enters your life, whether for a fleeting moment or for years, is there for a reason. These encounters are woven into a vast, intricate web of causes and conditions, a karmic dance that unfolds uniquely for each of us. Imagine your life as a grand tapestry, woven from countless threads, each thread a relationship, a meeting, a connection. Some threads shine brightly with love, joy, and ease. Others are tangled with challenge, pain, and growth. Yet none of these threads are placed by chance. Each is a deliberate stitch sewn by the unfolding of your past intentions and actions, inviting you to awaken, to heal, and to evolve. This understanding can transform how we view our lives and the people within them. When we realize that no one steps into our life by accident, every interaction, every bond becomes a sacred opportunity. An opportunity not only to learn about others, but more importantly, to discover deeper truths about ourselves. You may have noticed how certain relationships seem to test your patience, stirring fears or old wounds. Others may effortlessly open your heart, reminding you of the boundless capacity for love that exists within us all. Even the briefest encounters, a kind smile from a stranger, a moment of shared laughter, can hold profound meaning when seen through this lens. At first, this perspective may feel overwhelming. It asks us to stop blaming external circumstances or others for our suffering, and instead to look inward, to ask the difficult questions. What is this relationship teaching me? What parts of myself am I being called to recognize or heal? Such questions invite us beyond surface-level understanding and into a place of spiritual inquiry. They remind us that relationships are not just social interactions, but mirrors reflecting our inner landscape, the light and shadow within us. The power of this insight lies in its ability to transform suffering into wisdom. When difficult relationships cause pain or confusion, we can choose to see them as teachers rather than punishers. We begin to understand that these experiences, no matter how challenging, are essential parts of our spiritual journey. So I invite you now to take a deep breath and open your heart to the possibility that every soul you meet is part of your unfolding story. Whether a lifelong companion or a brief acquaintance, each person brings a message woven by karma, an invitation to grow, to forgive, to love more deeply, and to awaken more fully. In this first section of our exploration, we will delve into the invisible karmic threads that connect us all. We will reflect on how these connections shape our inner worlds and beckon us toward growth and awakening. As you listen, I encourage you to gently recall the relationships that have shaped your life, the ones that have lifted your spirit and the ones that have tested your strength. Notice how each has left an imprint on your soul, guiding you in subtle ways. This is the beginning of a path from confusion to clarity, from pain to peace, from isolation to interconnectedness. And it begins with the simple yet profound realization: no one enters your life by chance. Have you ever stopped to wonder why certain people seem to arrive in your life at just the right moment? Sometimes feeling like a long-lost friend, other times like a challenging test? Buddhist philosophy teaches us that these encounters are far from accidental. They are woven into the grand tapestry of karma, the natural law of cause and effect that governs every aspect of our existence. At its core, karma is not about reward or punishment, but about responsibility and learning. Every thought, word, and deed you have ever produced sends out ripples into the universe. Ripples that eventually return, shaping the conditions and relationships you experience. These karmic seeds can bloom into joyous connections or difficult challenges, but all serve the purpose of your spiritual growth. Imagine your life as a vast cosmic garden. Each interaction with another soul plants a seed, sometimes a seed of love, sometimes one of conflict or discomfort. These seeds arise not only from this lifetime, but from threads extending across many lifetimes. The Buddha described how karma weaves these relationships together like invisible threads binding souls across time and space. When you meet someone who feels instantly familiar, it may be because your souls have shared previous journeys. These karmic connections bring unfinished lessons, emotional wounds, or deep bonds that transcend this moment. Similarly, a person who triggers a strong emotional reaction might be reflecting parts of yourself that are ripe for healing. Consider the way a mirror works. When you look into it, you see your reflection, not the mirror itself. Karma acts as such a mirror in relationships. It reflects back your own qualities, your kindness, your fears, your attachments, your resistance. Sometimes this reflection is pleasant, showing your best qualities. Other times it can be uncomfortable, revealing fears or habits you have yet to face. This reflective nature of karma encourages us to take responsibility for what we see. Instead of blaming others for our pain, Buddhist wisdom asks us to ask, what is this relationship showing me about myself? What am I learning? How can I grow? To better understand this, let's explore the story of Irene. Many years ago, Irene abruptly ended a close friendship during a turbulent phase in her life, unable to face the emotional complexity. Years later, she found herself hurt and confused when someone she cared deeply about ignored her. The feeling was hauntingly familiar. Through mindful reflection, Irene realized that this painful experience was karmic, a mirror reflecting her own past actions and unresolved feelings of abandonment. Rather than falling into resentment or victimhood, Irene chose responsibility. She reached out to her old friend, began to heal past wounds, and embraced the opportunity to grow. This story beautifully exemplifies the compassionate nature of karma. It is not a system of punishment, but a teacher inviting us to awaken. In your own life, you might notice relationships that trigger similar feelings of familiarity or intensity. Instead of resisting these experiences, Buddhist teachings encourage embracing them with openness and curiosity. Ask yourself, what is this connection here to teach me? What patterns are repeating, and what parts of my heart need healing? Karma also teaches us about impermanence. The relationships you have now are the results of past causes, but they are not fixed. Just as seeds planted today will influence tomorrow's garden, your present actions shape future relationships. This understanding empowers you. You are not bound by past karma, but have the freedom to plant new seeds of kindness, patience, and compassion. Walking with this awareness transforms how you relate to others. You begin to see people not as obstacles or enemies, but as fellow travelers sharing a complex journey. You cultivate empathy, realizing that everyone carries their own karmic burdens and blessings. Moreover, karma reveals the interconnectedness of all beings. Your actions ripple out to affect others, just as theirs impact you. This insight fosters a profound sense of responsibility and humility. It invites you to act with greater care, knowing that your intentions and behaviors help shape the web of relationships that sustains life itself. As we continue, remember that karma is a dynamic process. It is not a fixed destiny, but a flowing river that you can navigate with mindfulness and wisdom. Understanding karma in relationships is the first step toward transforming challenges into opportunities for awakening. In the next section, we will explore how even the most painful and difficult relationships are sacred tools for healing and spiritual growth. We'll see how embracing discomfort with compassion opens the door to liberation. Sometimes the people who come into our lives challenge us in ways we never expected. Instead of feeling like a blessing, they may bring discomfort, tension, or even pain. But what if these moments are not obstacles, but invitations? Buddhist teachings remind us that such relationships are opportunities for profound inner growth. When we face difficult emotions triggered by someone else, it's usually because that person reflects parts of ourselves we have yet to fully understand or heal. These relationships act like mirrors, showing our fears, attachments, or unresolved wounds. The pain we feel is often the pain we have carried silently within, waiting to be recognized. From my own years of practice and reflection, I've seen how embracing these challenges with mindfulness and compassion can transform suffering into wisdom. Instead of running away or blaming, we learn to observe our reactions with kindness. This shift alone can begin to soften the hardest experiences. A story that often comes to mind is about a woman named Irene who once cut ties with a close friend during a very difficult time. Later, she found herself ignored by someone she deeply cared for, and the hurt felt eerily familiar. Through patience and self-inquiry, she realized this was karma at work, not as punishment, but as an opportunity to see and heal her own pain of abandonment. This insight allowed her to take responsibility for her part and reach out to mend old wounds. This story beautifully illustrates how karma is not about payback, but about awakening through experience. Each person in our lives, whether for a brief moment or a long journey, is there to help us awaken to a deeper truth. In practical terms, Buddhist wisdom teaches us to meet these relational challenges with loving kindness, silently wishing others well, even those who have hurt us, as a way to dissolve anger and open the heart. It invites us to practice mindful presence, fully being with someone, listening without judgment, and responding with care so that ordinary moments become spiritual practice. Forgiveness, too, is key, not excusing harm, but freeing ourselves from the chains of resentment. Alongside this, self-compassion reminds us to recognize our own humanity and extend the same kindness to ourselves that we offer to others. By weaving these attitudes into our daily lives, relationships shift from sources of stress into profound spiritual classrooms. They become invitations to grow, heal, and awaken. Remember, no one enters your life by chance. Each connection is a thread in the karmic tapestry of your journey, teaching you something essential about love, patience, or letting go. Every relationship, no matter how brief or enduring, carries within it a hidden message. When we pause to truly listen, not just to the words spoken, but to the unspoken emotions and energies, we begin to understand that these connections are far more than casual meetings. They are spiritual assignments, moments in time where the universe offers us mirrors to reflect on who we are, who we have been, and who we are becoming. Think about those moments when you felt inexplicably drawn to someone new, or when an encounter with a stranger lingered in your mind long after the moment passed. Buddhism teaches us that these feelings of familiarity or strong emotional pull often stem from karmic threads stretching across lifetimes, weaving stories we are meant to finish or begin. These are not mere coincidences. They are invitations to remember our shared humanity and the deeper bonds that tie us all. Sometimes the people who challenge us most profoundly are the very ones who help us grow the most. A critical colleague might trigger insecurities we didn't realize were still alive within us. A partner's fears may awaken both our deepest desires and anxieties. These relationships force us to face ourselves, stripping away illusions and comforting facades, exposing our vulnerabilities and our strength. In this way, every connection becomes a doorway to self-discovery. They teach us patience when we feel frustrated, compassion when we feel anger, and courage when we feel fear. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we begin to ask, what is this experience revealing about myself? This shift in perspective opens space for transformation. I recall the story of Jack, an office worker who often clashed with his boss. At first, Jack reacted with anger and resentment, feeling constantly criticized and undervalued. But over time, through mindfulness, Jack began to see his boss as a mirror reflecting old wounds from his childhood. Wounds of feeling unseen and unheard. This awareness allowed Jack to soften his responses, practice patience, and eventually heal parts of himself he had long ignored. These stories and insights remind us that enlightenment is not found in isolation or withdrawal from the world. It is found here, in our everyday relationships, in the way we respond to love and heartbreak, in our moments of patience and impatience alike. Buddhism invites us to approach these moments with mindful presence, recognizing them as the very path toward awakening. So when you feel overwhelmed by the complexities of a relationship, or when pain clouds your heart, remember that these experiences are not detours from your spiritual journey. They are the journey itself. Each challenge is a chance to practice compassion, to soften your heart, and to awaken to deeper truths about yourself and others. No one enters your life by chance. Every person, every encounter is a thread woven into the rich tapestry of your awakening. Some teachers come into our lives to show us how to love, pure, unconditional love that doesn't cling or demand, but simply allows. Others arrive to reveal where our hearts are wounded, where we need to heal old scars that still affect how we relate to the world. All these relationships, whether filled with warmth or tension, are part of the same path, the path of awakening. Have you ever caught yourself struggling with someone close, only to realize that the frustration you feel actually points back to something within you? Perhaps it's impatience, fear, or unmet expectations. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that these moments are gifts, invitations to look inward rather than outward for answers. So how do we navigate these often complicated emotional landscapes? How do we transform frustration into growth, pain into compassion? The Buddha's teachings offer timeless practices that, when cultivated consistently, can change how we relate to others and ourselves. First, cultivating loving kindness, or metta, is a powerful way to meet people where they are. It's a silent wish. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. This practice doesn't ignore the difficulties or pretend harm didn't happen. Instead, it softens our heart and frees us from carrying bitterness or anger. Loving kindness helps us see others not as enemies or obstacles, but as fellow beings walking their own path, sometimes lost, sometimes hurting, just like us. Second, practicing mindful presence allows us to truly be with others without rushing to judgment or defense. In a world filled with distractions and noise, offering someone your full attention is a profound gift. When you listen deeply, you create space for understanding and connection, even in difficult conversations. This presence also means being aware of your own reactions, recognizing when anger, fear, or hurt arise, and responding with calm rather than reactivity. Third, forgiveness is a practice that liberates. It's not about condoning harm or forgetting the past, but about releasing the heavy burden of resentment so that peace can breathe again in your heart. Forgiveness allows you to reclaim your power, shifting your energy from being trapped by pain to being free to move forward. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we must show ourselves compassion. In our efforts to love and forgive others, we can sometimes forget that we too are human, imperfect, learning along the way. It's easy to be harsh with ourselves when we stumble, when we speak out of anger, or when we hold on too tightly to pain. But true healing begins when we treat ourselves with the same kindness and patience we offer a dear friend. Every mistake, every moment of weakness is a chance to learn and grow. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to evolve. When these practices come together, relationships transform. They cease to be sources of suffering alone and become bridges to deeper wisdom and awakening. You start to see that every connection, whether brief or lifelong, joyful or painful, is a sacred part of your journey. So the next time you find yourself struggling with someone, pause and ask, what is this teaching me? What part of my heart needs healing? What strength is ready to awaken? Embrace these questions with openness and kindness, knowing that every soul you meet is part of your path, and that no one enters your life by chance. As we journey through life, learning from every relationship, it's vital to remember that none of us are here to walk alone. Each soul crossing your path is a thread woven into the rich tapestry of your existence. Some remain for a lifetime, guiding and supporting your growth, while others appear briefly, leaving subtle yet lasting impressions. Both kinds of connections matter deeply. The beauty of Buddhist wisdom lies in its gentle reminder of impermanence. Just as seasons change, so too do our relationships. Holding too tightly to what is meant to evolve only causes suffering. Letting go, however, does not mean detachment or indifference. It means honoring the natural rhythm of life, embracing each moment fully and appreciating the lessons it brings. Sometimes the greatest gift you can offer a relationship is the freedom to be, to grow, to change. This freedom extends to yourself as well. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. What matters is presence, openness, and a willingness to keep walking the path of awakening. So when difficulties arise, and they will, see them as sacred invitations. They call you to soften, to forgive, to practice loving kindness, not just toward others, but toward your own heart. They ask you to release resentment, to heal old wounds, and to cultivate compassion that flows equally inward and outward. In the end, your relationships are the very soil from which your awakening grows. They are not distractions from the spiritual path, but the path itself, unfolding moment by moment through each encounter. Take a deep breath and whisper gently to yourself, I release what no longer serves me. I forgive, not for them, but for me. I walk this journey with love and patience. And know that in this practice, you are awakening to the truth that no one enters your life by chance. Your story is sacred. Your journey is unique. And every soul you meet is here to help you become the fullest expression of your true self. Walk gently, love deeply, forgive freely, and remember, no one enters your life by chance.